Don't drink and vape. Hey guys, why are you here? This is blatantly a click-through from my last video, because there's no way in how you click this part 2 if you didn't watch part 1. You're like crazy or something? Yeah, probably crazy. I told you guys in the first one to post your personal best on where you got to in that last video. So the fact that you're here and click that link means that you watched it to the end. Good work. I probably wouldn't have done it. I had to look back on the video and I fell asleep. Unless you've already fallen asleep and you're just watching a, like an autoplay. In which case, I still get the views, you know what I'm saying? So, thank you very much, sleeping guy or gal. So, after those images on the previous one, I decided to foray into the world of digital art. And it was like starting all over again. It was pretty crippling for me. I had to learn painting, and not only painting, but then painting digitally. And then I had to use one of these things, which is crude, but it worked perfectly well. I did all these images using a tiny little Wacom bamboo tablet, like 50 quid I think on Amazon. And yeah, these are the results from the very start, from like 6 years ago, right up to the semi-present, maybe a year ago. And that's when I went back to my inking. That's why I'm doing those videos now. So let's take a look. So I'm just going to rip through these. So I decided to do this one, which I tried to sort of photo manipulate, just getting me started really. So I just grabbed load of people's faces and then just repainted over them, things like that. Really ill-conceived, didn't know what I was doing, but it was for a project, so I did alright in the markings, but I knew it was bad. I knew it was bad even then. But there you go. Okay, so this is my first proper picture, so I used actual paint strokes, but then I used photo textures over the top of them, and created this thing. Very dark. There's no difference. I can use my cursor now. There's no difference between the blacks here than there is in the blacks in the distance, really, except the very back. So I did have some value composition back then. This is I learnt from a guy online called Fengzhu, Fengzhu design. He's got a load of great videos out there, and he's pretty much who I learned everything from. So I'll link his YouTube channel down in the description if you want to check him out. I thoroughly recommend it if you want to get into digital art. But right there, I can't stand to look at that picture. Look how detailed it is here, and look how just crummy it is in the distance here. It's ridiculous. You can really zoom in on this stuff in the original anyway. And I just spent time painting every single little man across there. It's just horrendous. Anyway, more horrendousness. More time spent detailing the background than it was the foreground. This is fun to do. More Inky Squid, I suppose. More Inky Squid was to be. That was a nice one. I mean, I like the image. The execution, it's not all there, but I like the colours. I think these things suit it well, and the boy looking out is quite an innocent picture, quite tranquil. I did that. It's like a little super speed paint thing, trying to do something quickly. So it's all off. The foreground is just as potent as the background. Even the background might even be more potent. If I was to put that in grayscale, you couldn't tell the difference between the foreground and the background. I'm not going to overly critique it. Obviously too dark. Just doing a horror thing. Speed paint again. I really like this. This is some thumbnail ideas, using perspective lines and things like that. Really trying to capture dynamic shots. I was gonna try for like a concept designer, things like that, for computer games and things like that. So these are really nice. I still really like them today. Actually, might use them in later pieces, to be honest. Oh, there they are in colour as well. So I do a quick colour palette to accompany them. Again, quite enjoy it. Quite like this one. You can imagine sort of a Shadow of the Colossus type game with that. Yeah. What's this one? Manufactured Goddess, I called it. Oh yeah, so these little alien dudes just creating a god. Yeah, take it for what it is. Nowadays I'd never use filters to make lightning bolts, but you know, I thought it was cute. I just learnt it. This was in black and white originally. I decided to give it a little bit of colour. This is the first one I painted solely using paint, and didn't use anything else other than Photoshop. No textures. I was really into Wipeout, so had to design myself a little craft, and this was a nightmare in perspective form, but I desperately wanted to get it right. And I still think, looking at it today, I wasn't too far off the correct perspective. Yeah, interesting, that one. That one, I've taken a step back. I was trying more textures to create a quick image, but too dark. I think it's too dark, and it loses a lot of itself in the background. I like the atmospheric perspective on this one, sort of the ambient light. The design choices are ridiculous. I don't know what I was thinking creating these things. I just wanted something very alien-y, like claws. Yeah, weird one, that one. I was into my sort of super suits, you know, space age, like Lost in Space. It reminds me of Lost in Space from, you know, the remake version, you know, latexy. It was weird. Yeah, if you ignore this guy here, oh, actually ignore the whole thing. The Eskimo Club, you might notice that my channel's URL is Space Eskimo, and that's how it was originally before it turned to Inky Squid. Just waiting for a few more subs in order to be able to change that URL, so please do subscribe. And that was my original logo as well, Space Eskimo logo. Okay, this one I've done. I've redone that recently, so you'll be able to see that near the end. I did a redraw of this one to show sort of a level up, because I was part of the level up group that was on YouTube. Yeah, go check their old stuff out. They haven't uploaded in a long time, but all their old stuff, they interview artists and they make them draw live, which is really good to watch. A lot of sort of little mini textures on the corset and things like that. I painted the sword, and then the background's just sort of painted using a photograph that I liked. Yeah, it's crap, but there you go. I've noticed that I'm much more critical of my art digitally than I am in my ink work, but again, I felt like such a starter noob when I was doing this sort of stuff, but I've got to remember that I was learning, so I can't be too critical of myself. This is Jake and Neela. This is going to be Neela is alien spelled backwards. I thought that was a cool little name, Neela, and Jake, the giant sloth man that helped her with the heavy lifting. I know, sexist, right? But there you go. I was a kid. not much of a kid. It was 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago. Some sort of miner guy. Don't know why I really drew that, but I like the luminescent water there. Well, it appears to be luminescent, but I was trying to go for the lighting here, hitting his water, but didn't really come across. And also, very grayscale. This guy, he could have done with some colour, I think. Okay, now we're starting to get somewhere. This is like a samurai kind of guy. I chose a palette to begin with, so I wanted the greens and the reds. It's a bit like the Japanese ink drawing that I did that I turned into colour, if you saw earlier on my ink and stuff. But I like the red-green contrast colours. I just muted them a bit more than in the cartoony version earlier. This is a bag of balls. So we'll ignore that. And also that is a bag of balls, and that is a bag of balls. I was definitely learning something at this point. It wasn't a case of it being good. I was just trying to figure out certain things, like very darks over here, if you could imagine, with very orange lights, to a gradient of atmospheric perspective leading off into the light. So you know, there was ideas behind each one of these. That was going on there. Fortress entrance, kind of a bog standard old picture, to be honest. A million people have done a million of the same. Okay, the dolphin, one of my favourite games. I decided to do a bit of a fan art for it. Yeah, it was a good laugh, that. I could have rendered actual echo in a lot more detail, and it would have given the whole piece a lot more credibility and authenticity, but I didn't, and that's how it was. I think even the background dolphin has got a lot more rendering than the front, so I think I just got lazy with that one. This one's a cool one. It's got a nice perspective. I was definitely learning perspective on this one. The execution of perspective was great, just not the content. I don't think the content holds up, but I definitely learned stuff. This is all stuff like sketchbook work, really. I was definitely learning certain things in every photo. This one I actually quite like. This one uses a very subtle texturing with heavy amount of paintwork, with a sort of a narrative in mind. So this is one of the first ones that I thought, oh, actually there's something to this digital art malarkey. And I like his eyes as well. Yeah, I think I did them quite nicely. This has got a 2-point perspective. I was trying that, so obviously there's a perspective going down there. It's basically a cube, if you can imagine the cube being here. And then I obviously have a camera going on as well, which is kind of like this. If you can always tell a certain type of camera. I don't know what you call it now. I was learning it before, but it sort of goes in at the sides here, and then it's just a wide angle lens, basically. And so I wanted to use that in the picture, and certainly adds to the storyline, I think. This one got a lot of likes, actually. What did it get? 1,600. Yeah, it wasn't, you know, this is the first one that really picked up, really. It was just a very futuristic sci-fi kind of thing. I spent a lot of time on designing certain aspects of this picture to create intrigue, and it showed in my views. And yeah, this definitely set me on the path to creating digital art properly. This one, so got to have my pirate ships and stuff in. So I did this, and I think I did a kraken. I just grabbed a drink of water. Talking a lot to myself in my room. It's quite sad if people are listening in. Little pirates dancing and whatnot. You know, it's quite funny. A lot of people like this one. It's quite tranquil, bright colours. Yeah, I can't really say much about this one. I quite like it. Definitely using the perspective and the wide angle lens, because you could imagine that the wide angle lens wouldn't make this. It would make it warped if it was. I don't know how to explain it, but if you imagine sort of a fisheye, you know, I get more in using this angle lens than I would do if I was just having a straight up camera, you know, lens. I'm not too technical with the old camera, but I should get into that. Jurassic Park fanboy, faux life. Quite like that one. I managed to use. I learned on this one the exposure thing where you could drop everything down. So I just kept dropping all the layers down on the exposure and just creating something. So this is definitely dark. If you take the grayscale on this, this is darker and this is all lighter going off into the distance. And I learned how to do a bit of blur around things that are in the distance as well, which creates a more photo realistic thing going on, even though it's quite cartoony, the dinosaurs or whatever. Dragon Ball Z for life. It's definitely taken from that sort of thing, some sort of superhero guy. Spent a lot of time rendering him out and stuck him on a painterly background with a few photo textures here and such like here as well. Yeah, good fun, that one. This one's it's just strange, really. I don't know what I was thinking here with this guy. What is he? Reminds me of Abe's Odyssey or something. Weird. Where the hell did that go? Oh, there it is. This is what I really like. So yeah, these are little thumbnails of ideas for pictures. I wish I could have done every single one of these, to be honest. This one I did for a project for Xenos, for Lesion Studios. I don't know if they're still going or not. I did a few for them and realised I was spending all my time for free doing work for someone else, and I thought, you know what, my time's worth more than this, so I gave it up in the end. But quite happy with how the picture went. I think it was some sort of anime project, and he wanted some concept design art for that. And I did another one for him, big statue of Xenos, I think his name is. And oh, I did this cover for an EP called Transitions. I've forgotten what his name was. Yeah, Proxim. There you go. Yeah, quite a quick, easy one, but quite enjoyed that actually. He wanted to show summer into winter, so I did the winter bit and the summer bit. Now, at first she looks like a giant, but yeah, she is a giant. But I was trying to do some perspective work really, and I pulled it out too far, so it just makes her look so massive. But it wasn't my intention. It's just a trick of the light and trick of perspective. And people have told me that this looks like Mew from Pokemon, which kind of does actually. This is good. This is like my I think a 30-second drawings. It's a good website, Pose Maniacs. If you ever want to go there, it'll post up pictures for 30 seconds, and you just got to draw what you see, and it's really good to get into dynamic poses and things, and be able to draw the human figure in a way that you might not have thought of, or you know, it just creates a library that you can access mentally. Yeah, check it out. Posemaniacs.com. If you ever get some spare time, just hone your skills in figure work, because it's very important. Some dragons, Game of Thrones stuff. Computer game I wanted to design, like a speed racer, like a Wipeout on water, if you can imagine that. I like the speed lines there. Spent a lot of time on this one. This is quite detailed, but I haven't got a high res on DeviantArt. But I did paint pretty much everything except the engine. Maybe that was textures, and this was copied from a I don't know, some sort of abstract building from Australia, I think it was. I can't remember now, so long ago. Speedboat designs for the game. Wanted to get into concept design, as I said, so designed a lot. Let me know in the comment section which one's your favourite. I like, personally, 15, reminds me of Biohazard from the Mega Drive, so I like that one. There's a lot. Oh, that one's based on a squid, so that's my favourite. There you go. That's it. That's settled. 26 is my favourite. Another one for that concept art for Xenos. It started to get a bit crazy. He wanted me to draw all sorts of stuff I wasn't comfortable with drawing, and this was the last one before it got very peculiar. So I ended it, but there's a lot of burning bodies. It was good fun though. Quite like that picture now, actually, on reflection. I didn't like it at the time, but it definitely has something to it. I do like the, as bad as that sounds, the burning bodies. Very clean, this one. Again, some boat design stuff. I tried to incorporate some sort of decals and things that might go with the driver. So I think this one was like Panda Tech or something like that, and yeah, it was very Wipeout. I think, oh, this was another one for Xenos. So yeah, he's the guy that controls this dragon kind of guy. Oh, some lesbians. Yeah, I like that picture. Yeah, I can't really fault that one. A lot of people like that one. Centauri Hyperdrive, my 1980s sort of styled game. Yeah, as I say. Yeah, just a good laugh, that one. Some Pirates of the Caribbean stuff. There's the Kraken, my homeboy. Some more racer stuff. Some sort of design sheet for an imaginary dinosaur I did. Spacecraft with some sort of people say they look like Cell from Dragon Ball. I suppose they do, actually, if you know that reference. It's sort of a refugee camp, you know, where they're obviously refugees, lots of kids and people in poverty, and they're being shuffled around inside a massive sort of war zone, I suppose. Ignore that one because I really don't like that one. I used a lot of rain filters and shine and blast. I think I took a step back with that one. Again, I used rain on that one. I felt it hid some of the crude details in a lot of my work, so I often use that to hide stuff. Rendered her out completely and then just gave up on the background, just put some rain on it, you know, to blur it out. This is I spent a lot of time with that one. That's actually Jake and Neela from all the way back when, just reimagined. I don't know what these things are, but I do love my squids, and I thought I'd make them airborne and robotized. So I guess that was the idea of that one. This one really set off, actually, this picture. Awakened, a big Titan. What did I get? 5,000 views for that one. That's cool. Yeah, he looks like a computer game character raising a giant Titan. Can't go wrong with that one. Right, this is one that I really like. This one's the Wanderer. I spent a lot of time learning how to do snow and things like that, so I think I really like that one. I'm going to speed these up, actually, because we're getting on for time. Yeah, the same guy in the other one that took off. Just a guy exploring weird orbs and such like. Skyrim, big into Skyrim. Thought I'd do some Skyrim. I think this is actually Skyrim armor, to be honest, or at least a mod of an original Skyrim armor that I really enjoyed. Yeah, enjoyed that one. Medusa. Like my women turn to face something hazardous, apparently, and there's some squids. Well, snakes, but definitely has that squiddy character to it. Hey, now we're talking. Kraken's demise. You might have seen these on my previous videos. I have used it. I've actually got a big blow-up picture poster on my wall, and these little peeps are doing a sandcastle of a ship, which I quite like. I wanted to do a series of these where there was a UFO crash and someone was walking their dog along, and just have all these sort of weird things where these mythological beings would just be in the normal everyday, and I just thought that would be quite funny, and this had been one of them, just a big kraken washing up. Strange, you would have seen this one if you looked at my what was it called, you know, referencing the Masters, or I think something like that. I did that picture, and there was that Neela picture again, you know, the warrior that I was showing you, you know, the one that's in the water. That's my reimagining of it, and I think that's the last one, because I went back to my art stuff. So there we go. So there is that. Oh, you're still here. I wasn't expecting that. Content. You can't like that guy at a party, which is your friend's friend, that didn't get invited. I told you to post your personal best. I didn't think you'd actually make it to the end of the video. You're kind of the guy that's staying late night, drinking all your beers and rum, taking all your ice. I hate that about people. Taking all your ice from the freezer. And then deciding to set up shop in one of your guest bedrooms, and then sleeping the night, and then leaving really early in the morning and waking up a really drunk person. You're that guy. You are that guy. Okay? Watch one of my hip hop videos.